Hello, Ryan Garland. I am your host of the Paradyme Shift. I cannot wait to expose the true inner depths of institutional wealth building and how to dig deep into real estate investing. Hey everybody, Ryan Garland here, founder and chairman of Paradyme. Thank you for joining us. We are here today with Gedalje. He's my best friend in the whole world. And I got to tell you, this table was sponsored by 10 Day Doors, and so is this podcast, which welcome to Paradyme Shift. Eric, you are the man. I'm glad you're here. Where do we start?
I appreciate you saying that, but I think we need to give just a little bit more light to Mr. Ryan Busnardo for putting together probably one of the most epic podcast tables that I've ever seen. I've seen his operation in person. I love supporting local businesses, and Ryan is the man.
He really is the man.
This table is insane.
He is. Dude, it's 1,200 pounds.
I saw you and Jordan trying to lift this thing, and then like Val got involved with like moving some glass, and you guys literally were moving around 1,200 pounds.
There's no such thing as moving this table.
This thing,
my back hurts,
man. But no, thanks for having me on the shift, man. I've been watching it. It looks awesome, and grateful to be a part of it.
Well, you know what? I think it's important that our network in the world hears from you and I both more often. For the simple fact that everyone wants to see what it is we're doing with Paradyme Storage and how the heck we're branding and building the reputation that we have. And, I think what I always do is give you thanks all the time because you've really guided me through this, in essence, atmosphere of Havasu. But really, man, I just want to continue to highlight who you are and what you do and give thanks to you publicly and just let the world know that you exist, and that I really want people to work with you and use you when they are looking to buy homes, develop projects. Like I was telling you before, I don't think there's much higher than where you already are. You're developing projects now.
I remember that phone call.
Yeah, you're doing it, man. And I couldn't be more thankful to have you by my corner, man. So,
well, let me tell you how much I appreciate, of course, the opportunity to represent your amazing brand, but your loyalty as a friend, because in Havasu, being a super small town, and sometimes it feels like this world is even smaller. And there's a lot of people that I feel they're telling us we're doing a good job. They're happy for us. They're stoked, but it's never felt more genuine from you than anyone else I know. Like when you call me and you talk to me and you tell me, dude, Eric, like what you're doing right now, you need to take a second, step out of your body and realize you guys are doing things nationally that, is top tier. I feel it. It feels so genuine coming from you. So you really, really, really care about me and you support me, and that relationship and that loyalty is invaluable to me.
Well, thank you, man. It's totally mutual. And, I think a lot of people continue to ask me more about my past and my background, but being in the space for 20 years and literally doing loans for hard money and conventional nationwide, I've really seen a lot of agents and how they practice and how they handle hard times and handle adversity. Going through 2008, I saw a lot of things go on between divorces and financial hardship and, people losing their homes and losing everything. And so, I always tell everybody, you don't know what you get until you put people in hot water like tea bags, right? And I've seen you over and over again handle yourself under adversity like a pro, this is what you've been doing your whole life. It's almost like as if life doesn't get easier and you just keep handling it. So, I think a lot of times relationships get tested and people get into business and they think it's going to be all hunky-dory and you're going to make a ton of money. But I think where the value is not only in how we support each other, but it's also the value you bring to me individually in your lane. And then as we go through hardship and we make it work, there's nothing better because you and I have actually had some testing times already, and to get to where we are today, I think is really a blessing overall.
Yeah, me too. I mean, ultimately, I was telling you, I think a video got posted on Facebook. It was like one of those 7-year memory things. And I was pushing a $300,000 house like it was a $3 million house. And you were my biggest fan back then, and you're my biggest fan now. And I'm so grateful to have that because, when I tell you about our successes, like people, sometimes they get jealous or they get envious. And I'm like, hey, dude, we just found out we're top 5 in the state of Arizona. And you're like, you go get that, bro. And that support.
And you earned it.
Yeah. Well, and you're just such a big part of that because ultimately what we were talking about, 74 units that we've already sold at Paradyme Storage, and to everyone that's invested in Paradyme Storage, I'm telling you right now, if you're listening, not only did you make the right decision, but the only decision that could be better would be to stay in this investment longer because that's exactly what I've done with my investment. Yeah. But 74 units sold. on track to sell over 200 here at Paradyme. We're on the brink of 150 additional units at Barn Caves, Boathouse there in the near future, and then the amazing space over at Dover. I mean, you're the player now in Havasu. And I'm curious, like, how do you feel, being in Havasu for such a short period of time, but now being one of the big guys, to say the least, really here in Havasu?
I think I never feel that way, because I feel like I'll kind of back into this. My wife the other day, I don't spend as much time with my family as I wish I did. And I woke up one morning and I look at myself in the mirror and I could see these grays and I could see I've aged, And that's kind of the point of the podcast, is really to kind of bring light to what, the real environment is like for Paradyme overall and everybody who's aligned at that top level, at the executive level. But I called my wife and I said, I can just see it in me now. I've been weathered. And the thing that she mentioned is that, she's like, you're always filled with humility and you never feel like you've done enough. And I think that kind of goes with me never really hanging on my conversations or hanging on my hat that we're the biggest player here. It's good for conversations when I'm talking to maybe investors or family office or what have you, just, share from dollar amount to square footage and obviously overall everything we have in the works. But, not only does it feel good, I think we all shoot for that. I think what happens is we fight for that. And then once you get it, you realize that's not really what's the value, where the value really lies. And I think what the big point to me for everything is that my relationships are the ones that have all the wealth. It's crazy. Like, I don't care how much, I don't follow, it's not about the money for me anymore. It's about my relationship with you. It's about relationship with everybody here on site. It's Dennis, everybody in my back office. Like, there's so much value in my relationships that I have with people that's the reason why we are where we are. It's the whole team. A lot of people are bought in, and the mission, we're out for the mission.
I don't know if I tell you enough, but that's one of the items that I respect the most about you, is once you have a relationship with someone, not only do you offer such an immense amount of loyalty to them, but I see that relationship grow into friendship, familial gathering. I've been watching your podcast with Aaron, Hot Solutions, Nick, Lennon Bridge Electric, Takai, your superintendent, Dennis, your general contractor, Ryan, your steel fabricator, Rob, your architect. I mean, you literally bring these guys in and you build them up. And we were talking about this earlier, that it's led to other opportunities for your subs. And you don't say like, what the heck are you doing there? What you empower them, like, go, I want you to do the most that you can. And if I'm a part of that, that's fulfilling for me. Like, you are fulfilled off of growing other people and giving them opportunities. I think that's so amazing. And people in this world, they don't want to see that. They get jealous. There's envy. And like, we were talking about Aaron the other day, and he got that other project, and you're like, dude, he's like a top dog. And just to know that I was a part of that a little bit is everything that I need.
Yeah. And so I just told him that the other day. I said, what a killer feeling it is to see someone that, I think people don't understand and respect the hard work these boys put in. I don't feel like they're not known enough.
Yeah.
And I think they need to get recognized. And it's kind of wild, because I just said this the other day, I think it was Andy Frisella that said it. It said, the U.S. has been built on tired men's backs. And it's so true. The whole country's been built with tired men. And when you look at these men, these subs and their laborers, these are men. These guys are out here swinging hammers and doing stuff at 120 degrees, and they're putting food on the table for their family. And I look at them and go, I'm glad I'm not doing that. There's some cases I know they're not glad to be in my shoes, but the reality is if I am able to give recognition where it's due, I've realized that my connection with them goes up. But I'm just a normal person. I want everybody, that's where I think you and we came from nothing, dude. We really didn't come from much.
Yeah. Zero.
You literally zero. And I think that's kind of where I tell people, like, if you really want it, you can get it. But two, it's always in the relationships. And it took me a long time to really identify that. Because I got hurt. It's just naturally, and that my walls go up for many years. And then I realized, I have so much value and stuff to give, that as I kind of reopened up, I was starting to get people that were similar to me, like mask off. And then all of a sudden my tribe started getting bigger and more and stronger. And then all of a sudden my company started doing better. And I realized, I'm like, it's all within the relationships.
Yeah.
And if that's what you can do, there's nothing better than that. It's like relationships matter, really.
It's just so cool to see, like you're actually creating jobs for people, for people that have graduated here, grew up here, have tried to start their own business. They're flourishing because of the opportunities that you're giving them. And then you're bringing them in, collaborating with them on your social media, inviting them in to do podcasts. Like for these guys, this is like the pinnacle of their career. And you're single-handedly creating jobs for them over the course of the next 3 to 5 years. Like if they're having a bad day, they can always look forward to Paradyme because of the opportunities that you've given everyone. And you're so loyal to them. The same people that you started with, you're still with today. So I just think that is so amazing and inspiring to see for me. And I don't say it enough, but I want you to know it's definitely noticed. And you're becoming the pinnacle of a lot of these guys, that are working for you. So I just think that's amazing.
That means a lot to me from hearing from someone like you, at your caliber now. And I really, it matters a lot. And I think one of the things that I share with my team is, I have so much loyalty within my team, and it's because they've seen how many bullets have been fired. And where I think it lays is if you continue to have hardship and you continue to show up and do the things that are hard, not the easy way out, and you try to do things with integrity and you're honest, what'll happen is you'll naturally start recruiting those type of people in your life. And if you're doing that in your business, your business will automatically grow. And that's really what's happened. You've seen a huge growth, spurt, if you will, with Paradyme in the last 3-4 years. I mean, big time.
Oh yeah.
And it's hard to find that type of multiple in a startup, if you will, or an expansion from, mortgage-backed securities to development. That's two different worlds.
Yeah.
And then, thank God I have some history of having to take back properties through my fund and dealing with construction, but I at least had enough knowledge to go ahead and feel comfortable to stretch myself and push myself. And then I had a lot of people and investors that I've performed for in the past that took that chance on me, and I performed again. Then they kept reinvesting, and now we are where we are. And now I continue to build relationships with new investors. And that's the thing. It's like my exposure to people every day is different, meaning, I get phone calls from investors that have been with me for 5, 6, 7 years, and their wives are terminally ill, people who've got cancer, their daughter died. I mean, the list goes on the relation. And so, a lot of people that work with me are investors, for example, they are looking at this as a retirement plan, how to hedge against inflation. They're worried about politics. They're worried about their income. They don't have the energy to go back to work. So what they have, they can't afford to lose. And so they're looking at me as that person. And what's crazy is for the longest time, I was hard to wear that. But then I realized I woke up one day and I'm like, but God put me here for a reason. And I think anybody who's relying on somebody at that level needs a fighter, needs someone that won't give up, someone that won't stop moving forward, someone that will continue to be honest and tell people the truth of what's going on. You know what I mean? Like if there's hey guys, we're having a problem delivering the building because, this, whatever, at least I tell them. And that's all they want to know is they want to, look, it's construction, things happen, fine. But if I'm honest about it, and tell people how this works from the beginning, they're totally okay with it. And I think that's really what it comes down to.
I think, look, we need to talk about this because, we've talked about the last 3 to 4 years, how Paradyme has grown exponentially. Paradyme Storage, your first storage development. If you haven't walked the grounds of Paradyme Storage, I think you need to, because it's unlike any other storage development that you've ever seen in Havasu. And my point that I'm going to get to is, look, you started this project. You could have created any other steel box development with no elevation, no artistic features, no elevations that, don't have these elaborate pop-ups and modern color scheme and stoned exterior and insulated storage units and air conditioning. What made you decide to go so against the grain and not figure out, how do I spend the least amount to make the most possible? But how more so, you said, I want to deliver a product to Havasu that they've never seen before. You weren't worried about your bottom line. You weren't thinking, how do I just stuff my pockets? You just need to walk the project for yourself to see it. But why did you make the decisions to just go so above and beyond to deliver such an incredible product?
So most of the time, when people say that, what's your key to success? And I basically tell everybody, well, there's a couple, several different things, but one in particular, when you're starting your vetting of a project is if it's good for everybody that's involved, the likelihood of that investment to go well goes up.
Yeah.
So if it's good for the community, good for the environment, good for your investors and your developers, the area, whatever, as long as it's good for everybody that's going to be involved, the likelihood of it being a good investment is high. However, what I've also wanted to do is make sure I'm building something that I want.
Yeah.
I'm putting my stuff in here. I want to take care of my stuff.
Yeah.
Because this isn't cheap. And honestly, I worked really hard for these things.
Yeah.
And then I'm looking at it from a tax strategy and, self-employed. And what if I had the real estate and you sell it and you can get some write-offs, right? And you get brick and mortar and the whole list goes on. And then I'm like, well, this is pretty cool. This can morph. And then I was looking at what our competitors are or, have. And I'm like, we just need to continue to do just a little better. So business hat now, do a little bit better than the last person and you'll get the niche. Do a little bit better than the last person, you'll get the niche. But then as I continue to talk to people that, I would say have worked really hard for their stuff too and want to take care of it, are asking for, RV hookups and so forth. And I'm like, you know what, let's just keep bolting all these things on. They're not that much of a delta. I can, increase it, but in essence, I'll pass the cost over to the owner. So I know what my bottom line is, but I'm not going to charge them more. It's cheaper to put that in now than them to do it afterwards. Might as well do that now for them. So I got to a point where I'm like, okay, I know what my margins are, but everything else that people really want, I can build in there and give them at cost.
Yeah.
Right. Not mark it up.
Yeah.
And now I'm able to make some pretty good coin because now I'm delivering something that everybody needs or wants, and I'm already still making my margin. So it's really business hat. And then I would say, lastly, I have this vision and this dream that one day my two boys will take over my company.
Love it.
And even if they don't, and they bring their family out here, which I'm expecting they will, because both my kids honor my last name. I'm very blessed. I expect that when they come out here and they drive by here with the grandkids or their family, they're going to be like, Dad built that. And Dad built that too. And Dad built that. And Dad built that. And Dad wasn't home as much as, we wanted him to. And Dad sacrificed a lot. And so I want to build something that my family and anybody who was involved is going to be very proud of, like something that it's a conversation piece for years to have, something that the city is going to, look at and go, everybody needs to develop like you. Cause then I build relationships because we're building a better product. So I think at the end of the day, it was more of like truly understanding who your end users are, which are going to be guys just like me.
Yeah.
And what they want and need to keep their stuff nice. And that's what I did. I just wanted to build a better, healthier, cleaner product.
I just think it's amazing. Like if you're an entrepreneur and you're looking to develop storage, at some part of the country, there's no easier way to sell a storage unit than when you have a buyer on the phone and they ask you, is the storage unit insulated? Yes. Does it have air conditioning? Yes. Am I going to have to get out of my vehicle and start cranking the door open in 100 degrees or 120 degrees if you live in Havasu? No. You're going to hit a button and the door is going to open automatically. Well, if I have an RV, how am I going to be able to charge it? The RV hookups are already in there. So what I think that the value to entrepreneurs out there or investors, I think you're the exact definition of an investor that it's not, hey, how do I spend the least amount to make the most amount of money possible? It's how do I really deliver a product that has quality, that has value, aesthetically pleasing. We're talking about storage units, and you've made storage sexy. And if that's one of the reasons how we've been able to sell 76 units, literally it was 74 this morning. We had 2 contracts today, 76 units, and they almost sell themselves because of the decisions that you've made as a developer. So I have to commend you on that.
Well, dude, it's funny that you said that because Kara, my wife's like, how much more sexy are you going to try to make storage? Because we're always doing these photo shoots and videos and so forth. Oh. And I'm like, baby, how about you get in the photo? We'll make it sexy, but which we did. But right. But what the point is like, I'm on site all the time, and I think what's nice is that I always kind of get the pat on the back that I'm a hands-on operator and I'm always here, and we're here right now. So I get a chance to, when you bring the buyers and I'll meet all these buyers and I literally start building relationships with them and then I start hearing their stories. And it's a bunch of men that, or men and women, believe it or not, that are buying these too, that all have, a story in life and why they decide to buy this. And it's all usually kind of the same story, which is we see value in these. We know we are looking for write-offs.
Yeah.
We want to keep our stuff nice. Like it's the same conversation pretty much every time. But it's also an atmosphere. It's a lifestyle. When you drive through here and you have a couple people with their doors open, it's almost like old town feel. you automatically wave driving down the road in an old town back east somewhere. Yeah. I do when I go to Tennessee.
Yeah.
I just wave to everybody because I know I'm not getting that in California.
For sure.
But that's how you feel here. It's like, that's why I know everybody. If there's a garage door open, I get out and I introduce myself and say hello, but I think I genuinely like that. And other people do the same thing to me.
Guys, you have to, if you're listening to this, I mean, we literally had one buyer who bought in our first phase. He had a gorgeous 46-foot Prevost RV, maybe a little bit beginner on driving skill, couldn't quite access his unit. I've worked with a lot of developers. I've worked with a ton of developers in Havasu, very blessed to do so. How you handled that situation, you literally told him, hey, we're building some more units in the future phase. As soon as those are ready, I want to move you over to that unit so that the access is more comfortable so you're not stressing. Mm-hmm. That is not how developers are built today. No. It's amazing to see how you are with people. And when I'm listening to your conversations, I just see how much you actually truly care. Like you're not faking that you care. You really care and you want everyone on your team to be happy and you want your buyers to be happy. And they don't build them like that today.
Well, so I appreciate the cool story. So Carlos and his drive-through unit.
I didn't know if he wanted me to bring that up.
Well, I'll just tell you the story today.
How you handled that too is insane.
Well, so I get a phone call from Dennis today and Dennis is like, hey, so I got to get into his unit. Now, mind you, he owns the unit already. He's got all of his boats in there and everything else. And Dennis is like, hey, I got to get into the unit. I need to pull all your stuff out and work. So I got to get a lift in there and the whole 9 yards. And he's like, I don't know. He goes, well, what if Ryan moves all your trailers? And he's like, okay, no problem. Because it's not, he knows.
Your skill that's a whole other conversation, how skilled you are towing a boat.
And so that was pretty cool. But it was nice to see that, these guys know I'm here and I'm not just an operator. Like I can do stuff with my hands. And so I think people really appreciate that because I'm so hands-on. I know how many bolts are in this. I know how many pieces are cut in the storage. I mean, I'm in love with what we do. I really am, but I love the people that are coming in and how many of them have invested into barn caves after they came into this product. I don't even know how. At least 15.
Yeah.
Every time I meet somebody and they're like, hey, you're doing the barn caves. Like, I love what you've done here. I got to invest.
Yeah.
It's wild, and so I'm just being me. I don't know another way to be because I want everyone to be happy.
I just hope that you never lose sight of who you are as a human being. Cause sometimes I just don't even know if you know, but how you handle yourself with buyers, with potential clients, how you extend your marketing team to us to help us with sales, to jump in the trenches to help Dennis with subcontractors. I don't know if the gratitude is reciprocated enough, but I just want to say thank you. And for people that, have talked about getting involved in the project to maybe invest at some capacity. I mean, when I did it, when I personally invested, it was literally a no-brainer for me because of how you handle yourself as an investor, the decisions that you've made here in the project, and the fact that we've sold 76 units in a little over 2 years. That's insane. Mm-hmm. And your bullish behavior on continuing to advance the project when we're not even, we've just started sales on another. You want to have all kinds of different opportunities or variety of unit types for people to buy, that you're just constantly reinvesting back into the project to make it more and more valuable every single day. So I've had a lot of conversations with people that they always ask me, because I'm always posting on my Instagram, I'm trying to inspire others to invest, to have the opportunity to get to where I got today. The biggest thing that I see, though, is a misalignment in expectations. Well, I have $2,500. I said, that's great. Like, what do you expect to make on that $2,500? Because relatively speaking, it's not the biggest investment. But what if you made $500 on that $2,500 in a year? Just for example, I mean, that's a really good return on $2,200. They're like, well, that's not that much. I'm like, what do you mean it's not that much? $2,500. What if you did that 3 times and now you had $10,000 to invest? When I made my first investment at the age of 19, I had saved $20,000. I didn't have a whole lot to my name because all I did was save, so I can invest more. So it's important for investors to realize that when they're making an investment, remember how much you're investing and run a percentage on that.
Right.
So if you can get to 20,000, and you're making a 10% return, you're making that's 22,000. So my point, long story short, is that if you want to invest, I would say just start with whatever you have and have the expectation on that amount. $2,500 is totally an okay place to start, in my opinion.
Well, dude, okay, so let's just get into brass tacks,
Yeah.
right? So from your track record, it'd be number 5 in the country, by the way.
Yeah.
Congratulations, because that's new.
Thank you.
But I'm hoping real quick, just let me tee off on you for a second.
Yeah.
How does it feel to be number 5 in the country?
It feels amazing, and I couldn't think of. We wouldn't be there without the amazing team that we have. I mean, truly,
your team is. I love your team.
We're pumping out over $250 million in sales in Mojave County, Lake Havasu specifically, not even 60,000 people. But it's also because of the opportunities that we have, like Paradyme Storage.
It does help when you look like the mafia, though.
No, but it's also any development that I'm a part of, I've invested in.
Oh, yeah.
That's how we've gotten the listings on those projects. So I want to
But
inspire others.
that's a high level land play, by the way. A lot of agents don't know how to play those cards.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you want to expose your secrets, but I'm saying is that you understand the commercial land plays as an agent.
Yeah.
And that's why you're able to kind of work those deals. But that's guys that are at that caliber that are buying and developing. That's what they're going to expect. It's a language.
Yeah. And maybe a controversial comment, but I genuinely mean it. I think the reason that I have the capital that I have today is because I've made certain decisions off the court to save as opposed to purchase materialistic items. And everything that I own for the most part is owned in cash. And that's because I've reinvested 95% of my income since I was 19 years old. So for anyone that's looking to invest, I would say just start with a couple $1,000 and grow your eggs so that you can have a bigger chunk of capital to invest to make a larger return. But you have to start somewhere. And I was talking to one of my agents a couple of weeks ago. She's like, I really want to invest. I said, well, what do you have? She's like, I have $10,000. I said, that's amazing, but start with $2,500. Start with $5,000. And build that trust within yourself, build that confidence within yourself so that you'll maybe next time you invest that full 10. I mean, when I was 19, I went all in and I was hooked. But you have to start somewhere so you can get hooked. Yeah. But make decisions and invest with people that you feel confident in. And I couldn't think of a better avenue than Paradyme Storage.
Well, I thank you for that. And, a lot of people don't know that you can invest through like an IRA.
Yeah.
A lot of people, especially when you jump from jobs or you're going into retirement, what have you, you have an IRA from your past, employer, or a 401k that you roll over to an IRA. That's actually one of the biggest investment vehicles that we have separate to savings and what have you.
Yeah.
A lot of people pulling money out of Vanguard, Fidelity, Schwab. I mean, all kinds of stock accounts and money market accounts and coming into real estate, which is I would say is probably a right move in this political atmosphere and market. And what possibilities are going to be down the road as far as a negative outcome and how that impacts. And we can talk about that later. But, a lot of people, I think, believe that real estate is a short-term game. And it is not. This is a long-term game. Yeah. And I tell everybody, look, as for conversation purposes, if you can take 100,000 and you can get to $10 or $1 million in 10 years, 11 years, that's kind of the rule of thumb if you can get there. That's good money, but it takes you 10 years and you got to keep investing it. You got to keep being aggressive. And then when you are making payouts, you got to diversify. You got to get, not put all your eggs in one basket.
You have to be aggressive on that 10-year plan. If you take a couple of years off, you've lost track and now you're going to have a shortfall. Yeah.
So even though 10 years is still a stretch for that million, but that's kind of the common conversation.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people go, well, shoot, I want $1 million in 2 years. Well, that's not, where are you going to find that? And even if you go to crypto, you're running the risk of waking up in the morning and it's gone.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, I think the smartest move is for people to come in, especially when you're getting into commercial real estate. Nothing happens fast in commercial real estate.
No.
That's why patient money is the best money. Being patient, making an investment that you can see there's a long-term play and that can withstand any market adjustments. Because guys like me or other guys even way more sophisticated than me, they're making and looking at data at like a 5-year, 6-year, 7-year play. Even from an exit side, like multifamily, how you're building it, what kind of, and you put Anderson windows in there, you're getting it cheaper, because, okay, well, you're going to sell this whole multifamily for $50 million when it's done. Your buyer's pool is that big. So now they're going to look at everything that you're doing. They're going to look at maintenance because multifamily is all about maintenance.
Yep.
What kind of materials did you build it with? They want to know all that. So if you're a developer that's cutting corners in certain asset classes, you're not going to make the money, right? And the point is that all of those plays, though, from a developer's hat, You have to look at long-term, who your exit players are going to be, who your in buyers are going to be. If you have an idea on who those people are, well, you need to not, I have an idea. You need to know.
Yeah.
But when you know who those people are, then you can build something knowing that you're going to exit. And that's the smartest thing you can do.
Yeah.
So when you are aligning as an investor, if you're vetting or operators to invest into, look at that long-term play. How did they sustain 08? Let's get them, because most everybody lost everything. But how did they sustain 08? How did they recover from that? And what are they doing now that's different? What did they do? Have they been divorced? How are they handling certain adversity? How have they been in lawsuits? All of that stuff, there's nothing wrong with asking. And if they handled themselves with integrity and took care of their responsibilities, then it's probably a developer, an operator that can sustain, and will keep going and knows how to fight. Because at the end of the day, that I tell everybody, raising money for a project is it's a fraction of it. It's once the development starts is when the war starts.
Yeah.
It really is a whole different game, man.
For sure.
So raising money, okay, you got the capital all in line, but getting it built is a completely different game. So the point is that if you have an operator that has all of their ducks lined up and they have their, subs and materials and they know what they're doing, the likelihood of the investment that goes up it turns out well, goes up. And ultimately you want somebody who has a track record.
Definitely.
Right. So that's what I love about you, because you taught me so much about, about storage, man.
Yeah.
I had all these ideas and you're like, okay, well, that's too much. Oh yeah, this is a lot. This is better. Oh no, you need to do this. So really, man, I appreciate you giving me kudos, but I couldn't have done it without you.
I appreciate it. I really do. Cause I just think that it's so easy to invest not only in a project, but in a person that you feel so confident on. And I have to go back to this because I get so many people that ask me, how do I start investing? Like, what do I do? How do I do it? I couldn't think, just Paradyme Storage, if you want to do 5,000, 10,000, like while the opportunity lasts. I don't even know where you at on the raise, but Paradyme, I think, is pretty much at capacity, but I'm sure there's other opportunities. What a great company to be able to invest in. Your CEO, Mike Revley, Brianna, the whole crew, I think, is just fantastic and very classy. So
we're blessed.
Yeah, dude. Thanks for having me on.
Of course.
And
One of many.
Cheers to Paradyme Storage and 3 new contracts in one day.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, dude. That was awesome.
That was really, it's right before the election too.
I know.
And people need it. People need to move money. A lot of people are bullish. They don't care what's going to happen and they need to make their moves.
Report 2, 85% sold out, building C, crossing 40%, building D, and underway on building E.
And you already got, I think you have a handful of people on the list for some of the larger units in E, right?
People love the doubles. Sure. That 28 feet of width, 55, 65 foot options are absolutely incredible.
Building G, I have a sticky feeling that's going to go fast because people want the larger units. It's crazy. You always think, well, it's more smaller units, but for whatever reason here, that's not the case. People want large units.
Yeah, 28 by 77 plus a balcony with some river views. Yes, please.
Millionaire's Row.
Love it. Love it.
I really should have closed this in.
Yes, those barn caves renderings are sick.
Did you see those things?
Insane.
Yeah, it's like morphing into being better and better every day.
Yeah.
It's the coolest feeling.
Yeah.
We're very blessed.
The gym, pickleball court, 3,000 square foot options, huge tuck under RV garages. Amazing stuff what you're doing, man.
4-bedroom, 4-bath too.
Yeah. Love it.
Dude, barn dominium, 3 stories, single family, 1 unit, drive-through garages.
Yeah.
Man caves.
Yeah.
Or woman caves, doesn't matter. It's a cave.
That works. Ryan, thanks for being my friend, bro. I appreciate you, man. Love you, dude.
Thank you guys for watching Paradyme Shift. You guys are the best. Thanks for your support. We'll see you soon.
Cool, dude.